Hello, and today I'm going to be going through my entire Hornby and Bachmann Thomas & Friends collection. And this is a video I've wanted to do for a long time. I've just never really got around to doing it. So I'll stop wasting time and we will start off with the number one. So here is the Hornby Thomas. This one is from 2009, I think. And as you can see, he isn't in the best condition. His eyebrows have, of course, rubbed off and had to be drawn on with pen. His brake pipes have also, unfortunately, broken off. But yeah, this Thomas is in my YouTube profile picture. So most of you have probably seen it before. But yeah, I would eventually like to get a new Thomas to replace this one because he obviously isn't in the best condition. But he does still have a lot of sentimental value to me, even though he wasn't actually my first Thomas. My first Thomas was a Bachmann Thomas, but I got this one to replace it because that one stopped working. But yeah, anyway, here is the Hornby Thomas. But yeah, I've not got much to say about Thomas. So yeah, we'll move on to the number 2 engine. Alright, so next up we of course have Edward, the blue engine, and I'll just grab his tender. So this is of course the Hornby Edward, and I know a lot of people don't like the Hornby Edward, but there's just something about it that I really like and I just don't know what it is. I just think he looks really cool, to be honest. But yeah, so he's got a really nice face, and this is also, I think, the most expensive model in my collection. I overpaid for this, to be honest. Can't remember how much I paid for him. I know it was over £200 though. But yeah, I did do a review on this model, so if you want to have a more in-depth look of it, then check out that review because I go through all the details and stuff and show him running. But yeah, so I'll just quickly go over some stuff. So he's got a really nice shade of blue. There's detail in the cab. And he is also tender driven as well, which isn't the best, and I know a lot of people aren't a fan of tender driven models. But yeah, that is the Hornby Edward. It's a very nice model in my opinion. I know a lot of people won't agree with that, but yeah, that is the Hornby Edward. So next up is the number 3 engine, and that is Henry, of course. And this is the Hornby Henry. And I've got to say, the Hornby Henry is probably one of Hornby's best Thomas models they ever did. Simply for the fact that he just looks like how he does in the Railway series, since he's just a Black 5, basically. But yeah, I love the shade of green on this. He's got a really good face. Everything about this model is just really nice. He is unfortunately tender driven, but I don't mind tender driven models that much, to be honest. And I also did do a review of this model. So if you want to see it more in detail, then check out that review. But yeah, it's a very nice model of Henry. So yeah, I've not got that much to say about it again. So yeah, we'll move on to Gordon next. So here is the Hornby Gordon, and I didn't have the Hornby Gordon for the longest time, and I wanted him for ages, and I finally got him for Christmas last year, so I'm very grateful and happy to finally have him. But I'm pretty sure most of you won't know, probably none of you will know this actually. I did have a Hornby Gordon for a little while. I probably owned it for about a week or two. But yeah, and I did a video about it probably a year ago now. But that video is long gone. But yeah, I did a video about this Hornby Gordon I had. And basically it didn't work. It wasn't in very nice condition, so I decided to sell it. And that's why I didn't have a Hornby Gordon for ages, because I sold mine. And I also only had that model, as I said, for about a week or two. But yeah, anyway, the Hornby Gordon is a really nice model. Sorry to keep saying this, but I did do a review on him, if you want to check that out. But yeah, he's a really nice model. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of is just how small the tender is compared to him. I mean, if you just look there, it looks a little bit small behind him. But yeah, he's got a really nice face. For some reason, his pupils are a bit small, which is kind of weird, but yeah, he's got a good amount of detail. So yeah, but this is not actually my only Gordon. I also have a Bachmann one, which I will show in just a second. So here is the Bachmann Gordon, and I did have a Bachmann version of almost all the main characters. I had a Bachmann Edward, a Bachmann Henry, a Bachmann Toby, I had a Bachmann Emily, but when I got my Hornby versions of them, I sold all of them, and I only kept Gordon because the Bachmann Gordon was my first ever Thomas and Friends model. He wasn't my first model train, but he was my first Thomas model. So he does have quite a bit of sentimental value. Even if the Bachmann Gordon isn't a particularly great model, he still has that sentimental value. So yeah, this is one of the few times this model is probably going to be shown on the channel, simply because I never really have a reason to get him out. But yeah, he's got kind of a weird face. It's not the worst face, but, you know, it's not that bad. He's really glossy as well, which I'm not a big fan of. But yeah, here's the Bachmann Gordon. It's not one of Bachmann's best Thomas models, but it's also not the worst. That title goes to Percy or James. But yeah, I'll get Bachmann Gordon out of here and we will move on to James. So here is the Hornby James, and I absolutely love the Hornby James. He's got a really nice face, and also, for those who didn't know, he is actually accurate to Audrey's own model of James, since Audrey used a 3F for his model of James, and the Hornby James uses that exact same tooling, which I just think is really cool. I mean, it's like owning your own version of Wilbur Audrey's model of James, which is, you know, really cool. But yeah, it is a really nice model. It hasn't got that much detail, but of course, the prop in the show didn't have that much detail. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about James. So yeah, so here is Percy, and Percy is my only 2016 Hornby Thomas model. And the reason I got him wasn't actually because of the white running board, it was because his eyes. So for those of you who don't know, the original Hornby Percy had these weird sort of outlines around his eyes. He had these sort of like weird rings, and it kind of looked like he was wearing glasses or something. But yeah, it just looked really weird and creepy, so I went with the 2016 one because he had more normal eyes. But yeah, Percy's one of the most basic Hornby Thomas models, and that's probably just because he is a new tooling, because most of the Hornby Thomas models used pre-existing toolings. They were normally just modified or painted to look like the characters. But Percy was actually a brand new tooling, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I'm pretty sure that they were going to use the tooling for their Caledonian Pug model, but I think Britt Allcroft didn't think it looked good enough or something, so they made a new tooling instead. That might not be true. I've not got any source for that. But yeah, I think it's a pretty cool story. Anyway, he's a really nice shade of green. The original one was a much darker shade of green. The only thing I don't like about this model is that he's got sort of a painted whistle on the cab instead of a separately fitted one, which is a bit weird. But yeah, he's really nice. He's got some really good proportions as well. He's one of the most accurate looking. He does have the basic 040 chassis. He's not got a new chassis or anything. But this chassis, the later ones are geared down to run slower, so he runs really nice and really smooth. But if you've got an original Hornby Percy, you will know that they run very fast. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Percy. He's a very simple model, but he is a very nice model as well. So next up, we've got one of the most hated Hornby Thomas models, and that is Toby.
Say the line, Bart!
And here is Toby.
Yeah!
The Hornby Toby is very hated simply because he's just way too tall. But yeah, I will admit he's quite oversized and overscaled. But I'm not sure how many people know this, but he was originally a clockwork toy that Hornby converted into a 00 scale model. And even more interesting than that is that he shares the same chassis as the Hornby Bill and Ben. And these guys will come up again later. But yeah, anyway, so I did do a review on this. If you want to see that, I go more in depth on the model. But yeah, there's not much to say about Toby. He's one of the most simple models they did. Mine is kind of dirty, actually. That is not good. Anyway, I'll clean him up later. But yeah, that is the Hornby Toby. So next up is the Hornby Duck, and I have some sad news about this model. He unfortunately no longer works. I don't know what happened. He just sort of died one day. But yeah, I've got kind of mixed feelings about this model. I don't know whether I really like it because he's, you know, accurate to a pannier tank, or whether I dislike it because he's got an unpainted running board, he's got quite a plasticky finish. But yeah, so I don't know if I'll eventually get a Bachmann duck or not. Or maybe I'll just fix this duck or get him a new chassis or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's it for Duck the Great Western Engine. So unfortunately I do not have Donald or Douglas, so we will be moving straight on to Oliver. And this is obviously the Bachmann Oliver, and I don't know how I feel about this model because I do kind of really like it, but also his CGI render is just so weird, like his skinny funnel and his tiny wheels. But yeah, I mean, out of all of the Bachmann models I've ever owned, this is probably the smoothest runner. Also, his rear wheels here have pickups on them, which is really surprising for a Bachmann model because normally they cheap out and, you know, don't do stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, this is quite a nice model. I barely have anything to say about it. But yeah, I think we will move on because I don't have anything to say about the Bachmann Oliver. Okay, so next up we have the Hornby Emily. And this model is the earliest review I have on my channel. So if you want to check that out, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it since it's awful. But yeah, I really like the Hornby Emily, to be honest. I think it's just sort of cool and a bit weird. And I mean, of course, she doesn't look like a sterling single. No one who's buying this model buys it because they want an accurate looking Emily, because if you wanted that, you just buy the Bachmann one. If you couldn't tell, she's based on a Dean single, well, the Hornby model is at least. She's also got a really huge face for some reason, which is always good. But yeah, there's not much to say about this, and I just knocked over the tender. There's not much to say about this. I did do a review. Anyway, let's move on. So next up we have Bill and Ben. So we'll start off by looking at Bill. I mean, they're both basically the exact same model, but we will start off with Bill. So he's got a nice face. It says Bill on the side. He's a nice shade of yellow. I think the only problem I have with these two is they're quite wide. I mean, they're not any problem on my layout, but if you've got platforms that are quite close to the track, on your layout, then these two might be a bit of a problem. But I think for sort of the standard, I guess, loading gauge for most model railways, they should be fine. Here's Ben, and you might actually notice their faces are slightly different shades of grey. Also, Ben has sort of a slightly different finish. As you can see, Bill, he's sort of got more of a sheen to his finish. Would you call that a sheen? I don't know. More of like a satin, maybe. Ben's, I mean, you can't really tell the difference on camera, but it's a little bit more matted. And they're also slightly different shades of yellow, although you can't see that on camera either. Actually, maybe you can. Here's Bill, here's Ben. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about these. So we'll move on to the next model. So next up we've got Devious Diesel, and I'm also going to be showing Ari/Bert at the same time. Since they're basically the same model, also I don't have the twin for this one. But yeah, we'll start off with Diesel. He's got a really nice face. He's got the molded details on the side. He has just got the basic 04 row chassis, so it's not that accurate. But yeah, next up we've got Ari or Bert, I'm not sure which. I got this quite recently, actually. I just haven't done a review of it yet. And sorry if my voice sounds a little weird. I have been filming this video for probably over an hour now, and my voice is very sore. But yeah, he's got a really nice face. Well, actually, it's the wrong face. Because this is actually the face for Splatter and Dodge. It's just, I think Hornby were originally going to make Splatter and Dodge, but after Magic Railroad failed, I think they just decided to go with Ari and Bert instead. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about these two. And actually, I forgot to mention my Diesel. His back buffer here is actually broken. I did get it like that. I didn't break it. But yeah, that's all I have to say about these two. Okay, next up is the Bachmann Ryan. And this is probably the second or third Bachmann model of this video. But yeah, the Bachmann Ryan is actually a really nice model. He's got a really nice face. He's got quite a lot of detail. He's got a back lamp there. And his lamp on the front's also really nice. He's got separately fitted handrails on the tank. He is unfortunately in that glossy finish that all of the Bachmann Thomas models are in. The only thing I'm not a big fan of, well, apart from the gloss finish, is his performance. But yeah, that is Ryan. So next up is Stepney. I won't spend too long on this since I did do a review of it. But he's got a really nice face, really nice colour. Lots of separate details like handrails, whistle, safety valve. But yeah, I really won't spend too long on this. I feel like I'm going to die because I've been talking for so long. But yeah, the next model is thankfully the last one. So last but not least, we have D261. And I'm pretty sure I did a review on this a while ago. So if you want to check that out. So I won't spend too long on this because, as I said, I did a review on it. But yeah, he's got a really good face. And also, for those of you who don't know, D261 in the show is of course, oh my god, I can't even talk, is of course a class 40, but Hornby used a class 37 for some reason, which I guess looks quite similar to a class 40. It's quite a lot smaller though. But yeah, I mean, I think it works okay. I think it still looks like D261. But yeah, this is the last model of this video. And I would have gone through all the rolling stock, but I feel that nobody would want to watch that. I won't go over all of my non-Thomas models, because I'm pretty sure most of you are here just for Thomas stuff. But yeah, I'll get all of the models lined up and then I will end the video there. So here they are, all lined up, and I want to give a big thank you to anyone who made it to the end of this video. But yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, then please consider subscribing, because I don't actually know how many subscribers the channel is at the moment. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye for now. Hang on, I forgot Ryan. Okay, there we go. Now the lineup is complete.
I have $30,000 in credit card debt.